047. Mitandao ya kijamii ya TV47 Kenya pale Facebook na ukurasa wetu wa Twitter, ukurasa wangu binafsi ukisalia L_Liza. Lakini mpenzi mtazamaji, baadhi ya taarifa ambazo tunafuatilia katika linalojiri ni pamoja na kongamano la hali ya anga kukamilika hii leo katika ukumbi wa kimataifa wa mikutano KICC. Kongamano hilo likiwaleta pamoja viongozi kutoka mataifa mbalimbali haswa ulimwenguni, na kamati kuu ya chama cha ODM kukutana leo kutathmini uongozi wa chama hicho. Pia kamati hiyo itaangazia mazungumzo ambayo yanaendelea kati ya upinzani na serikali, na vile kamati maalum inayochunguza kizungumkuti cha Worldcoin inaendelea na vikao vyake hii leo kuwahoji washirika wa kampuni hiyo, wakikutana na washirika wenyewe, na wakati huu wanaendelea na vikao hivyo. Baadaye tutakuwa tukiendelea ukisikia yale ambayo yamejiri, na mengineo ni pamoja na chuo kikuu cha MKU kuwa mwenyeji wa naibu rais wa Namibia na baadaye kufanya mkataba na International University of Management. Ni baadhi ya taarifa ambazo tunafuatilia kutoka hapa chumba kikuu cha habari cha TV47, na kisha baadaye tutakuwa tukikujuza. Lakini kwa sasa methali ya siku.
Methali ya leo: nondo hana nguo za heshima.
Nondo ni mdudu wa jamii ya kipepeo ambaye mbawa zake hutoa vumbi baya. Maana ya nje: nondo hapendezi kwa mbawa zake.
Maana ya ndani: watu wengine wana kasoro licha ya kuwa katika hali ya kawaida.
Methali hii hupigiwa mfano mtu ajipendekezaye ili hali ana kasoro miongoni mwa wengine.
Moja kwa moja tuandamane hadi tamati hii leo. Kongamano la kujadili athari na mikakati ya kukabili mabadiliko ya tabia nchi linakamilika, Rais William Ruto akitarajiwa kufunga rasmi kongamano hilo. Moja kwa moja tunajumuika na mwanahabari wetu Mike Kagongo ambaye amepiga kambi katika ukumbi wa mikutano wa KICC na anazungumza na viongozi wa Homa Bay na wakazi. Na sasa tunazungumza ama tunavuka huko moja kwa moja kusikia kulikoni. Iwapo unanipata Mike Kagongo, nieleze ni kipi ambacho kinajiri, iwapo matarajio ya Wakenya kutokana na viongozi mbalimbali kutokana na kongamano hili yameafikiwa au vipi? Mike, unanipata?
Unapotizama nyuma yangu hapa ni vibanda mbalimbali ambavyo makampuni mbalimbali zimekuja hapa kuonyesha ni vipi ambavyo wanafaa na kukadiria kutekeleza ili kuweza kudhibiti mabadiliko haya ya anga. Na kwa sasa ningependa sana tuweze kusemezana na kaunti ya Homa Bay ambao ni kipekee, ndio kaunti ya kipekee ambayo imefika hapa kuonyesha ni vipi ambavyo wanakadiria kuweza kupunguza haya masuala ya mabadiliko ya hali ya anga na tabia nchi. Kwa hiyo ndio kaunti ya kipekee ya Homa Bay ambayo imeweza kufika hapa na imeweka kibanda chao. Iwapo mpiga picha wangu atakuonyesha moja kwa moja, huyu ni gavana wa kaunti ya Homa Bay Gladys Atieno Wanga akiwa hapa kuonyesha viongozi mbalimbali na vile wageni mbalimbali ni vipi ambavyo kaunti yake imeweza kufanya na kutekeleza ili kuweza kupigana janga hili la mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Gavana, karibu sana ndani ya TV47.
Asante sana.
Leo ni siku ya pili ya maonyesho haya na kongamano hili. Sijui kaunti ya Homa Bay ina kibanda chake hapa. Ni vipi umewazia kuweza kuonyesha wageni hawa na kaunti hii inafanya vipi kuhakikisha kwamba mabadiliko ya hali ya anga yanadhibitiwa?
Asante sana. Homa Bay tuko katika kipaumbele ya kuhakikisha hii mambo ya climate change tumeiangazia. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu ukija Homa Bay utapata ya kwamba asilimia 80 ya ziwa Victoria ndani ya Kenya iko katika Homa Bay. Kwa hivyo watu wetu wako sana mbele ya ziwa, na ukiangazia mambo ya climate change unaona ya kwamba ilipofika mwaka wa 2019 ziwa ilifura, na ilifura na vile ilifura ya mwisho 1962 ikafura tena mwaka wa 2019. ikafukuza watu sana mbele ya ziwa pale. Kwa hivyo sisi kama wale watu ambao tunaishi mbele ya ziwa, karibu na ziwa, lazima tuangazie mambo ya climate change kabisa. Na ukiangalia unaangazia yale maneno ambayo tunafanya mbele ya ile lakefront yetu, na hapa tunataka tuweke innovation hub ya climate resilience, ya watu kuja kufanya maonyesho ya yale innovations ambayo wamefanya kuhusiana na mambo ya climate resilience. Tuko pia na special economic zone ambayo tunataka kufanya industrialization, na tunataka hii ikuwe green special economic zone, kumaanisha ya kwamba ile umeme yote itatumika hapo ndani ya special economic zone, tunataka itoke katika solar, renewable energy ya solar, na tunataka tuwe na maonyesho ya kuonyesha ya kwamba vile inasemekana hapa kwa conference ya kwamba Afrika, ulisikia jana UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres alisema ya kwamba anataka Afrika ikuwe powerhouse ya renewable energy. Tunataka tuangalie hapo Homa Bay, tuone ya kwamba pia sisi tunaweka pale ndani. Lakini watu wetu wanauliza swali, hii mambo ya tabia nchi ama climate change inatuhusu namna gani? Ama ni ya watu tu kukaa Nairobi na kwa mahoteli kujivinjari na kutuambia hii kizungu mingi? Nataka niwaelezee ya kwamba ukiona mambo ya drought vile imetu affect, hiyo ni climate change. Ukiona mambo ya flooding vile imetu affect, hiyo ni mambo ya climate change. Ukiona vile forests zetu zimekatika na zinaendelea kuisha, hiyo ni climate change. Hii mambo ya njaa inatushika. So lazima tutembee, tuangalie hii maneno ndio tujisaidie sisi wote kama Wakenya.
Umesema vema kwamba tangia miaka ya 60 kule ziwa hili halikuwa limefura, na limefura tena miaka michache iliyopita. Wakulima wa samaki ni wengi sana katika kaunti hii ya Homa Bay. Waliathirika vipi, na ni vipi ambavyo kaunti hii imefanya kuweza kuwasaidia ili kuweza kukabiliana na hili?
Sasa ukiangalia mambo ya wavuvi, wakati wa pale mwanzoni walikuwa wanaweza kujua ile siku kutakuwa na samaki season, samaki gani itakuwa wakati gani, ilikuwa mambo wanaweza kujielezea. Lakini saa hii kwa sababu ya climate change hawawezi jua. Pia samaki imepungua sana katika ziwa. Pia wakati ziwa imefura, wale wavuvi wako na infrastructure pale kando ya bahari, yote ilichukuliwa na hii. Na kwa hivyo kwa sasa tunazungumza pamoja na beach management units zetu, tunawaweka katika cooperatives, tuwasaidie kiuchumi, tuwasaidie na grants, waendelee kujimudu, alafu tusitegemee sana mambo tu ya uvuvi, wild fishing. Tuangalie mambo ya fish farming. So moving our people from fishermen to fish farmers. Hiyo pia ni jambo ambayo tunaweka kipaumbele.
Na labda kando na fish farming, ni mikakati gani mnaweka kando na samaki? Wakulima samaki ni wengi kweli kweli katika hii kaunti. Ni swala gani ama ukulima upi tofauti ama biashara gani tofauti umeweka kama kaunti kuhakikisha kwamba wakazi wa Homa Bay wananufaika kando na samaki?
So tumepea kipaumbele mazao mengine. Moja ni pamba, ukulima wa pamba. Tunataka tuwe namba 1 katika Kenya kukuza pamba, kukuza edible oils, edible oils kama sunflower, kama oil palm. Hiyo tunaweka pia kipaumbele zaidi. Tuko na mazao ambayo tunaendelea kuzikuza kama sweet potatoes, pineapples na hayo mengine. Lakini emerging value chains tunataka tufanye pamba na edible oils. Halafu horticulture hapo kando na bahari, watu wakuze nyanya zao, watu wakuze mboga zao. Halafu kuna ile kukuza mchele. Tuko na irrigation scheme inaitwa Oluch Kimira. Hiyo Oluch Kimira tunataka pia tuwapatie support wakuze mchele, na hizi ndio tunapea kipaumbele, na watu watakuwa na surprise kwamba Homa Bay tuko na kahawa, coffee. Kuna highlands za Homa Bay ambazo tunakuza kahawa pia. So tunapea kipaumbele haya pia.
Asante. Labda mwisho kabla nikuachilie, mmepata shilingi takriban bilioni 44 zinaelekea kwenye kaunti. Utazitumiaje wewe kama gavana wa kaunti ya Homa Bay?
Bilioni ngapi?
Bilioni 44 ambazo zimekuja zimepeanwa na mataifa ya kigeni.
Leo katika hii conference kuna bilioni 7 ambayo tumepewa kama floka. Hii ni pesa ambayo World Bank pamoja na nchi za Ujerumani, Sweden, Netherlands wameweka pamoja wakatupatia. Na hii tunaenda kuangazia, na tumeshaongea na watu wetu katika wards pale, na tumekubaliana ile projects ambayo tutafanya. Tutaangazia mambo ya maji, tutaangazia mambo ya kilimo, tutaangazia mambo ya environment na forestry, alafu tutaweka pia system ya kutuma information ya weather, climate information katika simu za wakulima. Hiyo pia tutakuwa nayo. So hizo ndio projects tutazifanyia.
Asante, shukran sana kwa kusema nasi. Bila shaka mtazamaji, huyo ni gavana wa kaunti ya Homa Bay akisema nasi kuhusiana na mikakati ambayo kaunti hii inaweka ili kuhakikisha kwamba inakabiliana na hili tatizo na athari za tabia nchi humu nchini. Kwako studio, kutoka hapa KICC, mie ni Mike Kagwango.
Asante sana Mike Kagongo. Huyo amekuwa akizungumza na gavana wa Homa Bay Gladys Wanga kuhusiana na mabadiliko ya tabia nchi na baadhi ya pesa ambazo zimewekezwa kuhakikisha kwamba wanakabiliana na changamoto ambazo zinatokana na mabadiliko ya hali ya anga. Lakini katika masuala tofauti ni kwa kundi la akina mama kutoka Makueni limesherehekea watoto 40 waliozaliwa bila virusi vya ukimwi licha ya kuzaliwa na akina mama ambao wana virusi hivyo. Gavana wa kaunti hiyo Mutula Kilonzo Junior kizindua mpango wa kaunti wa virusi vya kukabiliana na virusi vya ukimwi alitaja kuwa serikali yake imeweka mikakati ya kukomesha maambukizi ya virusi vya ukimwi kutoka kwa kina mama hadi mtoto. Isitoshe, gavana huyo amehimiza wanaume kuchukua jukumu katika kuhakikisha wanapimwa mara kwa mara.
HIV service delivery in Mumwani sub-county. This collaboration will continue with distinct roles between the CDC implementing partners that we've heard about, CHIB, LVCT, and CHOC, the county itself, and the national program to make sure we don't have duplication, but instead are using the donor dollars and the county dollars most efficiently as possible. We are approaching HIV epidemic control. So that means that we should start seeing less and less individuals living with HIV and less individuals dying from HIV.
Listen to a lot of statistics at 99% suppression, 96% all over the county. I think that is something to celebrate. Now, this team and the work that you do, Monajua, you can do a good job, but even one mistake causes the whole county to go aflame. So allow me to congratulate you for the good job. We have made an achievement of ensuring that the next generation of Makueni residents and Kenyans will live without HIV. It's important.
When you are virally suppressed, you cannot transmit the virus. Well, then I asked doctors, is it possible to get a negative baby? The answer was yes. If only you are adhering well on your medication.
Namna zaidi ya wanawake 100 kutoka kaunti za Isiolo na Samburu wamehimizwa ama wamehamasishwa kuhusu hitaji la kuchukua jukumu kubwa katika usimamizi wa masuala mbalimbali katika kaunti yenyewe. Vilevile wametakiwa kuwa katika mstari wa mbele katika masuala ya kukabiliana na haswa kuhusiana na haki zao miongoni mwa masuala mengine.
Jina langu ni Ruth Okara, nafanya kazi na shirika linaloitwa Namati, ambapo tunaangazia mambo ya haki za ardhi, haswa haki za ardhi inayoitwa community land. Community land ni ardhi ambayo imekuwa ndio kubwa kabisa katika nchi ya Kenya. Iko around 66% we can say in Kenya is community land. Kwa hivyo siku ya leo tumekuja kujumuika na kina mama ambao wanafanya kazi katika community land management committees, na tunaona wengine wao wako hapa wametoka jamii tofauti tofauti, na wamejumuika leo ili tuweze kuwafunza mambo ambayo yatawasaidia kuwa viongozi bora katika hizo community land management committees. Kwa hivyo kwa leo tumeangazia mambo ambayo inaangazia effective leadership, yani uongozi bora. Tumeangalia mambo mengine pia about communication. Tumeangalia hata sheria ambazo zinawagusa kama kina mama katika jamii. Tumeangalia mambo ya kudhalilishwa na jinsi ambavyo katiba imezungumza dhidi ya kudhulumisha kina mama na wengine ambao pia wamedunishwa katika jamii.
Lakini kwa vile wamenileta masomo ndio sasa hata nilipea mapawa. Tena naweza kuongea mbele ya wase. Nikienda kijiji kuambia wamama lazima tumepata nini? Vitu. Sasa masomo ya leo vile ilinisoma mzuri sana. Hata kwa sababu sisi wamama ndio tuko na shida. Nafikiri wase hawezi pata shida ile wamama wanapata.
Namna wakazi wa eneo bunge la Kinango, kaunti ya Kwale, wameandamana kulalamikia kutengwa kwenye miradi ya ujenzi wa bwawa la Mwache. Vilevile wakazi hao wamefanya maandamano ya amani hadi afisi ya kampuni ya Sino Hydro inayosimamia ujenzi wa bwawa hilo, wakidai kubaguliwa katika nafasi za ajira. Viongozi wa serikali katika serikali hiyo ama katika kaunti hiyo wakiahidi kuyashughulikia malalamishi hayo ili kuhakikisha wanafaidika pakubwa na mradi huo wakati ambapo unaendelea.
Shida kubwa kabisa hapa ni kwamba kumekuwa na unyanyasaji mwingi sana kwa hii project. Project yenyewe ni muhimu kwetu, lakini yale mambo yanafanyika hapa hivi hata imekuwa chungu sasa, ni kama haina faida kwetu. Kwa sababu kuna instances hapa ambazo zinafanyika, like sometimes interviews zinafanywa Sundays, watu hawajakuja kazini, huku kunafanywa interview.
Unakuja kwa interview, unafanya interview, alafu umeanguka, lakini alopata haitwi kazi, anaitwa yule alianguka kwa sababu ni rafiki yake, ni kwa sababu ametoa 10,000. Yule ambaye ana shilingi 10,000 hana pa kwenda. Je, kweli hii ni haki? Viongozi wetu wa Kwale, ingiliani kati hili jambo. Sisi tuwaumia, tumeteseka. Mimi nasikia uchungu lakini sijui nifanye nini.
Unajua hii ni mradi ya serikali na wao wanasukumwa na serikali. Sisi tuko hapa kuhakikisha hii mradi haipiti 2026. Kwa sababu hata ikipita 2026 itakuwa inakula pesa mingi ya serikali. So wao wako na hiyo target. So mimi ningeomba tuweze kusaidia.
Namna katibu katika idara ya vyuo vya kiufundi Esther Muria amesema kuwa vyuo vya kiufundi havitasazwa katika kukabiliana na athari za mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Akizungumza katika chuo cha kiufundi cha Nyandarua, Muria amesema kuwa baadhi ya vyuo vinawapa wanafunzi ujuzi wa kutengeneza nishati safi na vilevile kupanda miti vyuoni. Kwa upande wa walimu, na mwalimu mkuu wa chuo hicho cha Nyandarua Felix Mangatu amesema kuwa katika juhudi za kukabiliana na mabadiliko ya tabia nchi, chuo hicho kimekuwa kikipanda miti na kinapania kuanzisha kilimo cha unyunyiziaji maji mashamba kama njia mojawapo ya kukabiliana na upungufu wa vyakula ama chakula humu nchini.
The seabed recrafting of the trainers is happening here by the Kenya School of Tibet. This is important for us because we have we started, one of the things we're also going on doing is recrafting our curricula so that our young people are skilled. We are part and parcel of the climate change in this country, because one of the things that are happening is that we are training in solar energy. We have institutions such as PC Kinyanjui, like water, where we have this training so that we ensure that our students are well versed with the green energy. We also have gas. We are making biogas in institutions such as Eldoret National Polytechnic from the manure and the waste from the cows, and we are encouraging this institution to take it up as well.
We started implementing Tibet quite a while. We were implementing Tibet SIDA, our programs, and now we have developed our own programs. Actually, we have done 69 curriculums on a PS, even though out of that it's only 28 that are approved so far.
Katika taarifa nyingine ni kuwa kamati maalum ya bunge inayochunguza kampuni ya Worldcoin inaendelea na shughuli zake hii leo, ikikutana na washirika wa kampuni hiyo. Wanataka ama wakitakiwa kuelezea jinsi usajili huo ulivyoendeshwa na pia jinsi walichukua data za Wakenya zilikochukuliwa na vile jinsi ambavyo zitatumika. Na kwa sasa tunavuka huko kusikia washirika wa kampuni hiyo ya Worldcoin.
About 3 years, and the opportunity to be here with you all is really something I never would have imagined professionally, so it's very exciting. So if you could go to the next slide, Worldcoin in Kenya today. I'll touch on this and then I'll hand off to my colleague, Sam. There have been questions, and this came through in your letter, which we can get into in the next portion here. Why Kenya? Why so much focus here? And I note that in multiple recent speeches from the U.S. ambassador to Kenya, I looked as I was traveling here, and do you know what the title was? It was Why Kenya? And her answers are the same. The level of tech adoption here, the level of talent here, the level of political stability and integrity here. We felt that this was a place alongside Portugal and Chile where the ideas alongside the technology could be tested, could be improved, and would ultimately find people who would adopt it and champion it and use it. So with that, I'll hand off to my colleague, Mr. Sam Sadel, and thank you for your time, committee, honorable committee.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Committee. My name is Sam Sadel. I lead government engagement and public policy for Tools for Humanity.
Maybe before you, I've seen you indicated that there is already, according to you, confirmed 4 million Kenyans already subscribing to cryptocurrencies. That's a confirmed figure?
It has been, yes, Honorable Chair, has been reported in the press. That's not from us. That's what we have read from press reports.
Okay.
Yes, that information is available online, Honorable Chair.
4 million Kenyans already subscribers of cryptocurrencies.
Correct. And that does not specifically focus on us. That is the broader cryptocurrency ecosystem, including Bitcoin and Ether and others. If you would, please, we'll be speaking through this slide here, Worldcoin in Kenya today. We're very proud of the work that we have done here in Kenya with our local partners, but also and how we have become embedded and integrated here in the Kenyan technology community. I just want to quickly share with you some statistics. So far, we've had more than 630,000 app downloads. That's people have downloaded the app on their smartphones. Of those, roughly 300,000 have visited and become ORD verified, which is receiving their proof of humanity, as Alex spoke about, the World ID. 335,000 have not been ORB verified, but have downloaded the app. I just wanted to make sure that we were very clear on the exact numbers. Of those, 301,000 ORB verified users have claimed their share of WorldCoin, roughly 13.7 million WorldCoin tokens here in Kenya. Of the 300,000 who have not been ORB verified, they're able to claim tokens but not receive them until they become ORB verified. So roughly 194,000 Kenyans have claimed about 5 million WorldCoin that are being held in abeyance until they're able to be verified through their proof of humanity.
So that takes them to 700,000, the verified and unverified Kenyans.
So 301,000 ORB verified, 335,000 not ORB verified.
But they're in the system. At
Correct.
some level of the system.
Correct. They've downloaded the app.
Yeah, meaning there are almost over 700,000 who had already keyed in.
No, I'm sorry, Honorable Chair.
The verified is Over 300,000, 301.
Yeah, so the total people who have downloaded the app is 635,000.
Okay.
Of that, 301,000 have visited an orb for personhood verification. The remainder have not yet done so. Great. Prior to July 24th, we have been providing proof of personhood humanness verifications since 2021. We were located at more than 20 locations around the city, including malls, the Hub, Sarid Center, Imara Mall, and elsewhere. We believe that we, as part of our effort, was to ensure that we reached a broad strata of Kenyan society, from the malls to stores, and really people from all across Nairobi. And that's why you see we've included a map here just to show you how many locations we had operating prior to July 24th. Since then, as of course, you all know, July 24th, as Alex mentioned, was when the token launched, and then we changed our operations model. And of course, as you all saw the long lines and the high demand at KICC that occurred after those days. Since we received the order from various government entities to halt operations, however, we have received many questions constantly every day. When are you coming back to Kenya? When can I receive my World ID? From those 335,000 people who have downloaded the app but not yet been able to receive a World ID. And these are just some of the comments from folks that we get every day asking when we'll be able to come back. And we're excited. We hope that we'll be able to work with you all and the government as a whole to find a way to bring this service to Kenyans who are asking us to receive it. Finally, with that, I'm going to pass it back to Alex to finish this up, and then we will be able to continue on. Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Committee.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, thank you so much for taking the time to understand WorldCoin in depth, not only today, but also in the last weeks. We are here to answer all of your questions as honestly and in depth as we can. And that's it with the initial presentation. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you so much, Alex and Tools for Humanity team, for that very elaborate elaboration and description of who you are. I think it has really made members understand them more better and in depth. I'd also noticed that there is another small presentation. It's more deeper.
The details. Yes,
it's actually the details.
Yes. Hiyo ni kamati maalum ya bunge la kitaifa ambayo inachunguza maswala ya WorldCoin, ambayo ni mojawapo ya kampuni iliyoingia humu nchini kachukua data za Wakenya kupitia kuchunguza ama kuchukua sajili za macho. Wanasema kuwa kazi ambayo wamefanya humu nchini, haoni baadhi ya washirika wa WorldCoin wakiongozwa na mkurugenzi mkuu Samsido wakisema kuwa kazi ambayo walifanya humu nchini katika taifa la Kenya hawana lolote la kujutia, kwani ilikuwa kazi nzuri, na wanasema kuwa target yao ilikuwa zaidi ya Wakenya milioni 15. Tayari Wakenya milioni sio milioni bali 700,000 wamefaidika na hizo WorldCoin. Wanaendelea kuelezea mbele ya kamati hiyo, baadaye tutakuwa tukisikia mengi. Lakini katika masuala ya mabadiliko ya hali ya anga ni kwa mashirika mbalimbali ambayo yamo kwenye mstari wa mbele kuhifadhi mazingira yamepongeza kongamano la mataifa ya bara Afrika kwa mkutano wa kudadisi hali ya tabia nchi unaoendelea katika jengo kuu la mikutano hapa jijini Nairobi, KICC. Kiongozi wa wanaharakati wa shirika moja maarufu kama My Forest, Faith Wavinya, ambao wameshukuru viongozi wa mataifa ya bara Afrika walio na wazo hilo muhimu, huku wakisema wanaendelea kujizatiti ndio ishara tosha zaidi ya ukakamavu wao katika juhudi za kukabiliana na mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Vile vile wamependekeza hatua za dharura kuchukuliwa ili mradi kutatua madhara ya mabadiliko yanao ama changamoto zinazotokana na mabadiliko ya tabia nchi.
Forum kama hii sisi tunafurahi kama Masai, na ndio maana mnatuona hapa tukifurahia pia kwamba tumekumbukwa na kwa hakika ni Mungu ndiye amefanya hii jambo, kwa sababu tunaona tuko na we have hope, we got hope kwa sababu ya hii maneno. Sasa tunaona sasa in the next few years climate itakuwa inatufavor.
Furaha tele kwa sababu jamii za Kenya kama jamii iliyo nyuma yangu ni Wamasai na njia yao ya kuishi ni kufuga mifugo, na siku hizi juu ya teknolojia wanafanya kidogo ukulima. Kwa hivyo masaibu haya ya climate change ama ubadiliko wa hali ya anga inawahusika wao haswa, kwa sababu hawawezi tena kuwa wanategemea mvua, kwa sababu mazingira siku hizi hata hatujui vile yanaenda.
My forest organization, they've been with us, they have held our hands, they have come, planted trees, gave us very good programs in the schools to ensure that people protect the forest, and especially as the pastoralists, we are very happy to have partners that are here to help us and support us to ensure that our livelihoods are sustained and even in the future. Thank you very much.
Kwingineko ni kuwa kamati ya watumiaji wa mahakama ya mazingira na ardhi ya Malindi imeanzisha kampeni ya kuelimisha jamii inayoishi karibu na msitu wa Arabuko Sokoke katika kaunti ya Kilifi kwa lengo la kutumia eneo hilo la uhifadhi kwa njia endelevu. Na vilevile msitu wa Arabuko wa Sokoke unajulikana kuwa wenye spishi za wanyama hatari, na baadhi yao wakiwa wanapatikana ndani ya msitu huo pekee. Nyayo za matairi baiskeli na vilevile ndani ya msitu zilikuwa miongoni mwa ushahidi wa kushughulikia ama wa shughuli haramu zinazokuwa zikiendeshwa kwenye msitu huo wa Arabuko Sokoke.
In Kilifi County, there is a lot of hunting for game meat, especially the dik-diks and what they call the bastard birds. They are always snaring them, and it is quite serious because even from the KWS, the population of the dik-diks has really gone down because at any given time in the courts, more or less each week, the KWS brings in accused persons who have been found with 70 carcasses of dik-dik.
And there is wildlife in the forest, which is looked after by the Kenya Wildlife Service. And as you know, the government doesn't have enough resources to successfully protect the forest. So we support them. We give them financial support, we give them equipment.
Namna Wakenya wakizidi kukabiliana na hali ngumu ya maisha kufuatia kupanda kwa bei ya mafuta. Mwanamume mmoja kutoka eneo la Mwea, kaunti ya Kirinyaga, amevumbua mbinu ya kuendesha pikipiki pasi kutumia mafuta ya petroli bali akitumia gesi. Mwanahabari wetu Elizabeth Atieno ametuandalia taarifa ifuatayo.
Katika stendi ya pikipiki katika mji wa Ngurubani, kaunti ya Kirinyaga, pikipiki hii ya kipekee inatuvutia. Unapotazama kwa makini utaona kuwa pikipiki hii inatumia gesi ya kilo 3 kinyume na mafuta ya petroli kama ilivyo ada. Gesi hii inaunganishwa katika sehemu ya kichungi katika pikipiki hiyo na kuhitaji kiwango kidogo cha petroli ili kuwaka.
Huyu ni mzee mwenza, huwa tunabeba na yeye. Hii system yenye unaona ametumia hapa iko afadhali kuliko yenye tunatumianga ya mafuta. Hiyo ya mafuta imepeleka wengine wetu nyumbani, juu wengi wetu ni huwa tunakodi nduthi, na tukikodi nduthi unaitishwa shilingi 300 ama 400.
Joseph Washira ndiye mvumbuzi, anatueleza kuwa wazo hili lilimgonga wakati bei ya mafuta ilikuwa inapanda, na sasa anaweza kuokoa takriban shilingi 400 kila siku.
Na nilipoanza kutumia hii gas, hii kamtungi inanipeleka siku 4. Ukifanya mahesabu, nilikuwa ninakunywa mafuta ya 600 kila siku, na saizi ninaweka 200. Kwa hivyo ninaona inaniachia 400 kila siku.
Hiyo ngiri 2 ukifanya hesabu mzuri, ngiri 2 kwa siku bila kuweka mafuta, kwa siku hizo 4 anaenda nayo. Unaona ni ngiri 8. Kwa hivyo ngiri 8 kuenda kurefill ni 400. Kwa hivyo unaona hii ni afadhali hata kuliko mafuta.
Waendesha bodaboda wengine kutoka mji wa Ngurubani wamepongeza uvumbuzi wake wa shira, wakisema ni rahisi kiuchumi.
Naomba serikali badala ya kutuletea hizi pikipiki za stima iangalie ama iingilie, ifanye hii kitu ikuwe mzuri kabisa, tuwe tunatumia gas kuliko kutuletea hiyo ya stima juu. Sasa kama mimi mtu niko na hii ya mafuta, sitaweza kununua ya stima.
Licha ya manufaa ya kiuchumi, aina hii ya pikipiki inayotumia gesi itasaidia pakubwa katika kukabiliana na athari za mabadiliko ya tabia nchi, kwani inapunguza kiwango cha gesi haribifu inayoachiliwa angani. Wito sasa umetolewa kwa serikali kuwekeza katika uvumbuzi mbalimbali utakaosaidia katika kudhibiti athari za mabadiliko ya tabia nchi, haswa wakati huu ambapo bara la Afrika linaandaa kongamano la tabia nchi hapa jijini Nairobi. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
Asante sana Elizabeth Atieno kwa taarifa hiyo. Wanasema siku zote akili ni nywele na kila mtu ana zake, inategemea za kwako unazitumia kwa namna gani. Lakini kwa sasa tutarejea katika ukumbi wa KICC ambapo kongamano linaloleta pamoja mataifa mbalimbali ya Afrika na ulimwengu kujadili changamoto za mabadiliko ya tabia nchi yanaendelea, na hii leo ikiwa ni siku ya kufunga kongamano hilo na mstakabali ukitarajiwa kutolewa kuhusiana na hatua ambazo zitapigwa na hatua ambazo zitachukuliwa kuhusiana na mabadiliko ya tabia nchi barani Afrika na katika taifa hili la Kenya.
Money that Mr. Peter Odeng is talking about is going to benefit. If you tell me you're going to build maybe villages that are compliant to the environment or to the climate as it is changing, who is going to benefit? Can we get access to these beneficiaries? Once you make it easy and possible for us to access these people, the newsmakers, I think we will be on the same page. And also just bear in mind, we need a lot of heads up, a lot of time to do that. So we will appreciate lots of opportunities for embed with you. Sometimes we will pay for it. My organization will never take a free embed. We will ensure that we take care of our own budgets. But those media houses that are still young and upcoming, please support them into telling those stories. Resources are very important. You know what the media is going through at the moment. A lot of cut downs, a lot of restructuring, a lot of redundancies. They also do not have the privilege to even fund their reporters to go out into the grassroots, into the places where the stories should be told from. So please try as much as you can to support journalists to go to those long miles to get the stories to be told. I'm happy as the opportunity that we've got from GIZ, the opportunity that we've gotten from the Kenya government through Mr. Odeng, that we are here today. Let's look at collaboration. Let's look at building capacity amongst our journalists. When Pam was speaking, I put myself in a situation where, as she talked how the climate change or climate stories, how the coverage began. It has evolved, but has our knowledge, the capacity been grown? I don't think so. And if any opportunities are made available, it's mostly the reporters. You forget about the editor, who also needs to get a bit of the nuances, a bit of the terminology. And this editor is the same person who is going to green and okay the story. They are dealing with so many other stories and so many other issues that are coming up. It's like sort of like conflict of priority. Which is the story that I'm going to give the top line? Which is the top story for us today? On a day when the fire in South Africa has happened, the Joburg fire where 64 people have died and so on, and we are talking about the Africa Climate Summit, as a news editor, I'm conflicted. Which will be the top story of the day? Will I give it to Climate Summit, or will I give it to the fire in Johannesburg, for instance? So we are constantly dealing with these sort of dilemmas on a constant day. So let's make climate change stories, can I say, in quotes, sexy, appealing, because some people have given us feedback. Climate change stories are boring. How do we make them interesting? The challenge is up to us as journalists, as editors, to do that, because it is our work anyway. we signed up to it. But also from the other end, can the climate experts, the shapers of this discourse, help us to make it sell? In media, it's all about selling. We are businessmen. I will not give space to something that people will just look at and move on to the next story. I will go for that will bring me audience, that will bring me the shillings, the money. It's all about the money at the end of the day. But then in the long term, I know that the effects of the adverse effects that we are seeing will have a huge impact even on us. So if we don't open our eyes and start smelling the coffee, I think we'll be too late into the game. So let's work together. I know that we have an opportunity. COP28 is not so far off. It's coming up soon in UAE. Can we create that platform? Can we sustain this discussion? How are we going to ensure that after today, after this Africa Climate Summit closes, that we will keep that discussion going? How do we do that? I think the onus is on all of us to ensure that we look for more perspectives, try to get more stories highlighting the voices, the champions of climate change in wherever part of the continent they are, bring them up into the forefront to tell the stories. I would also like us to follow the shillings, the cents, smell them. When a donor comes up and says they have committed 70 billion USD to support climate change, can they show us? Can we track that money and know where it is going to, what it is being used to? Can we ask for accountability? Can we make sure that we can come back here and sit here again maybe 1 year later and tell the people who are listening to us, the global citizens, that this is what the money that was offered did. This is how we followed it to the end. I think the challenge is on both sides. I would say that.
Yes, thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Ruth. Listening to what Ruth has said, where are those walls? Ruth and Pam have said scientists and experts are locked up in their room and throwing out sounds and terminologies. And these sounds and terminology, they hope somebody else will pick it, and that person is supposed to be the editor or the journalist. I would like to pose this to Peter as one, before I open up the floor to the questions. That you sit at the center and you've been involved in climate aspects, strategies, and training, and making sure that whatever you do, you're not doing it just because you have to do it. What are you doing? What plans do you have? What messages did you make sure that you had what you wanted to achieve from this Africa Climate Summit? Is your messaging clear? You know, these are the lines, and taken time to walk and discuss that one and say, this is, because we are all in it. Nobody is saying, it's not a blame game. What have you put on the ground towards going to COP28?
Great. I will not focus on this Africa Climate Summit. We started long. The debates in Hall started in when? The first major one was in 1975, in Stockholm. Why UNEP was brought here. 1975. Many of you were not born yet. Me, I was born millions of years before that. That was meant because after the Second World War, people thought they fought so hard, and now they want to consume beyond their means. And these ones were led by the Americans. If you are here, they won the war, now they wanted to enjoy. They ate until now all the natural resources were almost over. It is at that conference now where we say that if we continue to consume the way we are doing now, then the next generation will not be there. That one was the first debate. That first debate yielded UNEP. But between UNEP, 1975, things never changed. Indeed, it became worse. And in 1985, the Brundtland report, the former Norwegian prime minister, the UN said, wait a moment, things are not going on with, the way we thought. The Brundtland report came and clearly identified 3 elements. And that is where the name sustainable development came, that we have to have a development that takes into account environment, social fabrics, economics, and put the people, the human being, the nature, the biodiversity, the ecosystem at the centricity of that development.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
But before that, what did I do? What did we do as the government of Kenya? We changed the narrative. The climate change, which now attracts many, we said, in the National Treasury, we came up with the terminology climate finance, financing change, because change is there. And within that, I was the first environmental man in the National Treasury. And they asked, what is this guy doing here? You should be in Ministry of Environment. But I say, no. Your GDP, 55%, is based on the natural resources which are heavily affected by climate change. And if I am not here, you will be planning for nothing. And that is how I changed the narrative from the top to the bottom. And today, Kenya is the leading beneficiary of the Green Climate Fund with 17 projects approved at the cost of $844 million. It is here. Every day, there are delegations from all African countries to come and see what we are doing. Every day, I've never seen a journalist coming to discuss with me in that office. Today, every green champions are in the villages called green champions, and they are shaping the narrative. Yes. That is what we have done, and that is where we have. But we've also given the money. Floca is a $300 million, 1.50 billion USD.
Okay.
Pesa Masinani.
Thanks you. Thank you. Peter says he has the story and he needs the story to come. In 1 minute before, just 30 seconds, Ruth, in your work as working with the communities and other stakeholders, where do you see the place of the journalists and how you can find that convergence?
Thank you. I think for us, and we've been actually having this discussion in the office, how do we bring out the work that we do and link it to the impacts in the communities? Because, and I want to pick up from, I think it was Pam's point of saying, let's make, no, I think it was Ruth, let's make climate change, for lack of a better word, sexy or interesting. But I think it's also about how do we communicate the impacts of climate change and link it to the impacts on GDP and also on local, the livelihoods of the local communities, and more importantly, how do we report this? We have been working with a couple of media houses. We have packaged the work that we do in renewable energy. We work in different sectors, and we are doing a lot of work in providing improved cook stoves and also in clean cooking. We're providing solutions in e-mobility. We are providing solutions in climate policy planning, but also in counties, supporting them to institutionalize climate change. But now, more importantly, we need to bring to the discussion the reporters, the editors. We worked with a lot of reporters, but now we're focusing more on editors, bringing this support of capacity building. It's a commitment we have done, and we are going to do post the summit, supporting them to understand how to bring out this discussion. But already, let me confirm to you that I really think climate change is interesting. It's not boring, because now this is where the money is going. This is where the governments are heavily investing. We are here with a lot of announcements, the billions that are being announced. But it's also for you. I think the media has a big role to play, to follow the money, as you say, but more importantly, to make sure that these commitments actually followed through, and we have the money given to these countries and to the communities.
Yeah, very good. Well put. Money is there. We just need to follow the money. Benso, just 1 second. The legalese, the jargon. What are you doing from your side to break that jargon so that we pick it up and understand it? 30 seconds, please.
Thank you very much, Ken. I want to encourage the journalists who are here, particularly the young ones, that there is hope. We've been working on this as an organization, Institute for Law and Environmental Governance, with journalists for the last almost 2 decades. The first lot of journalists we worked with who took particular interest in this are in high places. And I'm talking, one is sitting here, Pamela Sigi went for a scholarship funded by Danida through a program that we were running. And you can see where she is. And I think they were there with Joe Ageo, who is also a leader in one of the media houses, Uchieng Ugodo. Rosalia has recently done her master's at no institution less than MIT. It takes personal interest. The last 2 that I've talked about have won global awards. Time Magazine, Commonwealth, environmental journalists. So there is a lot in this area and a lot of support that would come your way if you took particular interest. Right. It takes partnerships. We've partnered with Maseno University, for example, and a number of other institutions to develop curriculum for media people who are interested in climate change. There is no option. There will be no shortcut. In this one, you must invest, learn the language, the jargon, and we are not trained as communicators. It is for the journalists to learn how to understand the language and step it down. So that is the challenge I would give to the Editors Guild and give to each individual journalist who is here, that there is hope and there is room, and it is very sweet, as I believe some of you who have tasted it can attest.
Hope, sweet, and those who have tasted it can testify. So I want to open this floor to the, well, a lot of interest. I'll go this way. Let me take the wave from this side, and just one question and keep it short and sharp. I'll start with the lady here and then move backwards. Yeah. Where's the mic? Where's the mic? Oh, just move that to the mic, huh? Yeah.
Say your name. Yes. From the University of Nairobi. My concern is about how reporters report on women's stories and climate change. Now there's going to be finance. I'm not seeing women placed where they can get the carbon credit. So media people, think of how you package women's stories so that you make them real, and also harness on the knowledge we have at the university on how climate affects women. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joe, go to the mic. Oh, there's somebody there. Okay.
Yeah, hi. My name is Anne-Faith Birungi from the African Youth Mobilization for Conference of Parties. So I'm the Research, Education and Training Contact Point. And I wanted to know from you, what are the opportunities for capacity building to the public and to the leaders to inform them on adaptation, mitigation and aspects of climate change? So I also have a question on the languaging. We came together as the Children and Youth Constituency of the UNFCCC, and we created a translation working group. So what we are doing is we are interpreting and translating information in UN languages and indigenous languages. I wanted to know, especially on the terminology climate change that's not clearly defined and is ambiguous. What are the challenges about this, and how are you dealing with this to ensure that information gets to the people? Thank you.
Thank you. Mike. Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charles Chigiri. I coordinate a project called Climate Promise in Mida, Kilifi County. I'm here to speak on behalf of the villagers. So I had little complaint that the practitioners in the media industry have problem in picking the climate language. Now, if my mother in the village is slowly picking the language, what about a media practitioner who spent years in the university can't pick this language? Is it about interest or is it about understanding the language? That's one. Two, it's all about the interest in stories. Where I come from, there is a very hot topic, and the media is just putting it aside. The nuclear story in Oyombo village. A lot is being discussed, but I've not seen any national conversation at the media rooms. What I'm saying is that the local social media groups discussing, but there's nothing being discussed, especially at the national level. And this issue is very serious, because in as much as maybe the nuclear plant in Iweyombo is very important, there is no adequate participation with the people who are being affected there.
Okay.
So my concern is, where is this interest in following the media stories coming in? Is it about the money, as someone said, or is it about the people?
Thank you. Keep it short. Keep it short.
Good morning. My name is Shadrach Agaki. I want to speak on behalf of the people who are supposed to sit on that stage. And I want to steal a secret for you, that you're not going to expect some policies to be made by politicians. For you to help them make those issues that you want to be legislated public, because politicians only will take issues that are public issues for them to legislate.
Thank you.
Secondly, Ken, just a minute. The other thing is, as journalists, are we thinking about the system that when you are reporting the footbridge at the Langata Road, are you connecting it to several issues that the people can benefit?
Thank you.
So, to you, Peter.
Thank you. Joe, that was more of a comment and some...
Thank you. Not a question. As a journalist, I think I have what would more be like a contribution. Climate change affects all of us. It's not an issue of journalists versus them. It's an issue of collaboration. How do we make this collaboration sustainable? How do we make it consistent? And how do we make it such that it has an impact? I'd request that the people in places and institutions that deal with this, you have a structured engagement. You already now have the Kenya Editors Guild that you can easily have as an access route to the newsrooms. Work with us at the Kenya Editors Guild. Let us develop programs. Let us develop training manuals. Let us develop capacity such that we tackle this as an issue that is not just of national interest, but of our livelihoods. If we do that, if we collaborate, if we partner, and we make it sustainable, then I want to believe we will be having a different conversation when the next Africa Climate Summit is held, because just like Africa has done it for the first time now, this should be the starting point of involving media and ensuring that media is part and parcel of this conversation right from the start. Thank you.
Yes, we'll take that question, the answer, then the other ones will keep short, but don't... Okay, keep it short and one question.
Hello, my name is Daisy Love. I'm an environmental scientist, but I took the path of environmental journalism. So my question is, sometimes we have the story as organizations, but it's so hard to reach the journalists. The small media houses might be willing to come, but when it comes to the big ones like ATN Nation, it gets really hard to get them. Maybe you could find a way to collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we take that before we take the other ones? Oh,
okay.
Yes.
In the darkness over a steaming electric pressure cooker for a very, very long time. And so it's really a super exciting day and week for us to really feel like, yeah, the future is here and the future is electric and we're all in.
Fantastic. Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay Caldwell-Umala. I'm here with the Clean Cooking Alliance, and I lead our country transitions work. I think we're here because we're the global steward of clean cooking, and e-cooking is a really important part of that universal access narrative.
Hi. McKenna.
Thanks. I'm McKenna Ireri. I'm a director at the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet. And there we're concerned about all matters energy, renewable energy access, but also just energy transitions. And I'm here because we see electric cooking as a really important part in enabling a clean energy transition. And we are really concerned about the cost of the product, the cost of the appliance, and have mechanisms to try and bring those down. So interested to speak about that.
Thank you, McKenna. Brian, last but not least, Brian.
Thank you very much. Brian is the Commissioner, Renewable Energy Department at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. I'm here to continue confirming that clean cooking is critical for Uganda and to share some of the lessons that speak to our readiness as a country to roll out a country-level program for clean cooking.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start by turning to Peter. The other day I got referred to as the grandfather of electric cooking. So maybe I can call you the grandfather of clean cooking more generally.
I think it's the Pope of clean cooking. But it's a bad joke.
You talk about the emergence and the opportunities now of electric cooking. How big is that opportunity for Africa?
Yeah, the opportunity is massive. You know, we often focus on the lack of access to electricity in Africa. So many people don't have access, but so many people do have access. So at least 600 million people have access to electricity. And so, yeah, those people should be cooking with electricity. There's no reason for them to be cooking with wood or charcoal or LPG or ethanol. All of those people could switch to electric cooking. You know, in Kenya we have 9 million households that have access to the grid. It's fantastic. Every one of those should be cooking with electricity. You know, we have to make sure that we get the right tariff in place, that we get carbon markets in place. But 10 years from now, I would love to see everyone in Kenya cooking on electricity, hopefully on a burn electric cooker, but if not on a burn electric cooker, on some electric cooking device. So yeah, really, there's an amazing opportunity for that. The other is there's a perception that the cost of electricity is really expensive. So we've mapped out the entire continent. We found 6 markets that are really promising for electricity, where the price of electricity is, in some cases, 6 US cents per unit. The average is about 13 US cents per unit. And at that pricing, households can save between $5 and $7 a week. So, you know, $300, $400 a year they can save when they switch to electricity. So we have to get over this idea that there isn't electricity access. We have to get over this idea that electric cooking is expensive. It in many cases is the most fuel efficient, cost effective way to cook.
Peter, thank you. I'm going to make that more specific now and turn to the Kenyan market. And put Irene a little bit on the spot here, in the sense that Kenya's tariff is relatively high. Is there a business case for KPLC to see electric cooking as an important part of your portfolio of interventions?
I know most people say the tariff is high. Indeed, everybody has been complaining that it's high. But when you compare cooking with electricity and cooking with charcoal,
you know, first went to the newsroom in 1975 when UNEP was being formed. Right, mine is only one word: big talk, and after this big talk, nothing. My challenge is this now.
Okay, thank you.
Journalists, you plant a lot of trees, you do a lot of environmental work, but it's on paper, on air, and on television.
Thank you.
But on ground, there's nothing.
Thank you.
Now, I want you to get me, I'll give you, everybody will want to adapt a tree or a bamboo from here.
Thank you. We finally have one question from somebody can translate. Yeah.
All right, hello everybody. So it's true that this issue on climate change and terminology affects us as deaf people, and especially the concern and the involvement of media. So my question to you is, how have you included people with disability, and especially deaf people, because it is true that all these things we are missing out on all this, and we are missing out on discussions about climate change. So how would you involve people who are deaf in these discussions?
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to put them in one big. Peter, you will look at what you're calling that information about what are you taking into the indigenous communities and what. Benson will talk about this language issue in 1 second, because we are run out of time. Ruth, you'll look at access. They're saying they're not getting us. What can we do about it? Then Pam will talk about the question of the women that was asked, the gender question in this whole debate. And then, are we missing the story? The one, I would like Ruth to take that one in 1 second. So we can start from Ruth here as we wrap it up.
So mine was about access to us journalists, media houses, and all that. I'd like to say that after this, I think we really need to create or have some efforts go towards public awareness about climate change and the whole discussion about financing and everything. Okay. At the Kenya Editors Guild, we do hold public forums. We have done that severally in the past through town halls, where we go down there and meet our constituents, our clients, the audience, the people that listen to us, and have discussions with them and help them to be able to create a bit of climate literacy for them to understand the debate in levels that are beyond them, in places where they cannot reach, in halls like these ones, in meetings like these ones where you and I in the villages cannot make to. We can take them down to them and say, this was discussed, this is what was agreed, this is how we are going to keep track of it, break it down to them. The amount of money that has been contributed or that has been set aside, this is what it is going to do for you. Do you have any questions about that? We can follow up on accountability. We can get the public engaged and actively involved. We can do this through Twitter Spaces, for instance, and Mr. Odeng, I hope you can offer us that opportunity, and also GIZ, you can offer us that opportunity that from here we take it to the people. Keep that discussion going until COP28. I would like to speak more, but I don't think I have the opportunity. I'll let my colleagues also say something.
And just note that we do not sell news. We do not charge you to give us the story. That is one thing. If anybody asks for money, that is the wrong person. The people, there's a stories going around that you pay so that I can cover your story. We do not do that. We do not do that. Peter? For Peter, there's Pam, the gender question, very quickly. Pam, yes. Pam, yes.
Thank you. I think I really liked you've made me actually think outside the box. I think we've more or less focused on the woman in the village, but we haven't focused on the woman in the urban center and how she has to make a call to just get a gallon of water. I think that's a big challenge to us, and it's a new aspect for us to cover. And as I say, the big challenge as I live here is keep the momentum, because I think this is with this inaugural summit, it means that we keep the momentum until COP28, and I hope it doesn't die down as it's always done. So I hope we can keep the momentum and have great stories even up to the next year. But I know for sure the climate change, the climate change discussion is very, very big, and it's quite big in newsrooms. So we are going to keep the momentum, and thank you.
Thank you. Out of this discussion, even to Prof from the university, we now realize that the woman is at the center, at the closest human being to climate, to the resources that we have. The story will be followed. You have it from our side. Thank you. Peter, very quickly.
Many questions, many answers. One, for partnership, I offer you immediate partnership for training starting tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because that is the question, capacity and training. Peter, thank you for that offer. Yeah.
On loss, there is something passing here, loss and damage. Please avoid this terminology because it is still being discussed. The design is still on, and loss and damage, as we are talking now, is still not yet a functional fund.
Oh, yes.
Please get this one right, but do not jump up and down that there is now climate change fund for loss and damage. The architecture of that will be very complicated.
Okay.
It involves insurance, payment of all. Please avoid this.
Okay. Okay.
Don't talk about it. Finally, yes, the real question is, I'm now responding it. One, please, FLOCA, design, solve all your questions. For the people with disability, within the financing locally led climate action program, we have done two things. We have given the decision to the lowest level in the world, number one. And one of the conditions under that, all must be included. Women, people with disability, the old one says everybody is included, but at that level, so that the decision is down, PESA is down, for us is simple to take a take. So all are included in that.
Thank you. And to respond to that, the media is already doing, if you check on our televisions, we have translations. Even this session, we have sign language. So we are factoring that in. And thank you very much. Ruth, in a few seconds, as we finish.
Yes, I'll be brief. But before I go to the question of are we missing the story, please let me just highlight that the issues of capacity on climate change were actually anticipated by the Climate Change Act that we just amended now, 2023. And the Ministry of Environment is to develop a public gender and civic education capacity building framework, implementation framework. And the whole idea then is to unpack, to look at the scope of capacity building needs and unpack that. And GIZ, we are supporting the Ministry of Environment, and we will be supporting them to do that framework. And we will then also ensure that we have a media capacity building component, looking at the scope of capacity needs and designing a curriculum. I also really like the idea that there's an existing curriculum that can be leveraged so that there's more, we can leverage on that to raise more capacities around media and editorial issues. Now, going to my topic, are we missing the story? Let me just mention that I think the challenge is also on media. And let me still reiterate that I don't think climate change reporting is boring. I think you can get money from climate change reporting. Right. And there are partnerships, they've been offered by the National Treasury. There are other organizations that you could partner with. As GIZ, we are doing a lot of media pullouts on specific days on climate change, and we could partner more to bring the capacities, to raise the capacities around climate change.
So finally, Peter, in 10 seconds, please. Benson, yes, sorry.
Very good. I think there is a challenge on both sides. So much bashing has been done towards the media, but I think the scientist has a responsibility to step down from the ivory tower and learn to communicate in simple language. I think for our friend who raised the issue of people with disability, you couldn't have been more right. I'm not an expert in communication, but I believe knowing the constitutional basis for our laws, there is enough room in our legislation and in the current practice that we see, like Ken says, translations and all that we need to happen. So I believe it is a challenge to the GILD and to the media houses. And I would say to our two partners, the government, as Peter says, there is already foundation in FLOCA to ensure that, and development partners, that we can translate this in a special way so that we take care of the needs, those special needs that our colleague has raised.
Very sorry, we had to overshoot the time a little bit. There's a lot of interest. So let's clap for our... that is not a very good clap. Yes, appreciate them, and thank you very much. Thank you, panelists, for your time and everything else. Thank you. Their photo, the panelists will take a photo here, please.